Picture this. You're sitting at your desk, scrolling through another tech video, and suddenly you realize the future isn't coming someday. It's already here. Not in some distant sci-fi movie, not in a billionaire's imagination, but in real labs, real prototypes, quietly changing the world behind closed doors. And today, we're diving into 5 inventions that feel like they belong in the year 2080 but already exist in prototype form. What you're about to hear isn't fantasy. It's the true story of how scientists, dreamers, and engineers are bending reality itself. Let's start with something that sounds straight out of a cyberpunk novel, reading minds. A few years ago, at a neuroscience conference, an audience watched as a man who'd been paralyzed for years sat before them with a robotic arm next to him. He had a small implant in his brain, a prototype brain-computer interface. The scientists asked him to imagine moving his hand to grab a cup of coffee. His eyes focused, his brain fired signals, and the robotic arm moved. Slowly, trembling at first, but then steady. It reached for the cup, gripped it, lifted it, and brought it to his lips. The man smiled. No one in that room moved for a few seconds. Then they erupted in applause. This wasn't telekinesis or movie magic. It was the result of electrodes capturing the brain's electrical impulses, decoding them, and turning them into movement commands. Neuralink, Elon Musk's company, has been working on similar brain chips, trying to build a seamless link between humans and machines. University researchers around the world are doing the same, decoding dreams, controlling robotic limbs, and even typing messages with thought alone. In Japan, a group of scientists used brain scans to reconstruct images of what people were dreaming about. Not perfectly, but close enough to recognize faces and shapes. Another lab created a system that can influence dreams by playing sound cues at precise sleep stages. It's like Inception, but real and very early stage. These brain-computer interfaces are messy, experimental, and full of challenges. The brain signals are chaotic, every mind is unique, and implanting electrodes is risky. But the boundary between thought and action is breaking down. For people who've lost mobility, it's more than technology. It's freedom. Now imagine this. You're walking through a forest, and suddenly someone in front of you disappears. Not runs away. Not hides. Just vanishes. Sounds like fantasy, right? But in a lab in Canada, a company called Hyperstealth has been working on what they call quantum stealth material. It's not a full Harry Potter cloak yet, but it can bend light around an object in just the right way to blur or hide it from sight. They've demonstrated small sheets of it that can make objects behind them fade away when viewed from specific angles. Scientists call it metamaterial, materials engineered on the nanoscale to guide light precisely. In university labs across the world, researchers have been doing similar things for years. Some have managed to make tiny objects invisible to microwaves. Others have hidden heat signatures from infrared sensors. One lab even made sound waves wrap around an object, the first acoustic invisibility cloak. One day, a research team set up a test in a microwave chamber. They placed a small metallic cylinder inside, sent out microwave beams, and watched the reflected patterns on a screen. When they activated their metamaterial cloak, the reflection vanished. The microwaves passed around the cylinder as if it wasn't even there. Everyone in that lab froze. For a brief moment, invisibility wasn't magic, it was math. Sure, there are limits. The effect only works at specific wavelengths, and the object size is small. But the principle has been proven. The same optical physics could one day make aircraft harder to detect, create dynamic camouflage, or design smart clothing that adapts to its surroundings. The invisibility cloak is being born, molecule by molecule. Now let's switch gears, from disappearing objects to materials that can heal themselves. There's a concrete footpath in the Netherlands that has a secret. It's alive. Not in a creepy sci-fi way, but in a microbial way. Inside the concrete, there are tiny capsules filled with dormant bacteria. When cracks form and rainwater seeps in, the bacteria wake up, feed on nutrients mixed into the cement, and produce limestone that seals the cracks. The path literally heals itself. Engineers first tested it by deliberately cracking a section and waiting. Over weeks, they saw the fissures close up. No human intervention. No repair crew. Just nature doing its thing. This concept, self-healing materials, has exploded across different fields. Scientists have designed polymers that can repair scratches on phone screens. The material contains microcapsules filled with liquid resin. When the surface gets scratched, the capsules break open, and the resin fills in, hardening under light or heat. Some researchers have even created metals that can heal microscopic fractures when heated. It sounds like something from Tony Stark's lab, but it's happening right now. The first prototypes of self-healing metals and polymers already exist in industrial labs. There's a story from a materials lab where they left a scratched polymer sample overnight. The next morning, the scratch was gone. It had fused itself back together. That tiny moment represented years of chemistry, physics, and experimentation, and a glimpse into a future where buildings, cars, and electronics can maintain themselves. But the challenges are big. Some materials take hours or days to heal. Others can only heal once. And embedding microcapsules or bacteria can weaken strength or increase costs. Yet, the direction is clear: materials are becoming more like living systems, capable of detecting damage and fixing themselves. Now imagine you're a firefighter arriving at a collapsed building. Smoke everywhere. You can't see inside, and the structure is too unstable to enter. You pull out a portable device the size of a backpack, place it against the wall, and within seconds a digital outline appears on your screen. People behind the wall, their movements, even faint breathing patterns. This is not a movie gadget. It's a real technology. The Xaver 1000, developed by Camaro Tech, is one of several prototypes that can see through walls using radar imaging. It sends out ultra-wideband pulses that bounce off objects and reconstructs a picture based on the reflections. Military and rescue teams have tested it in real scenarios, finding survivors, detecting threats, even mapping room layouts without stepping inside. In one field demo, police used it during a simulated hostage rescue. From behind concrete walls, they could track figures moving inside the room. The screen displayed outlines, blurry but accurate enough to show who was standing, sitting, or moving. When they breached the room, the positions matched perfectly. That moment, when a piece of equipment showed what was hidden behind a wall, felt like a superpower becoming real. Of course, there are limits. It doesn't show crystal clear images, and thick materials like metal can block the signal. But the core principle, seeing through walls, is working today. This kind of tech is already finding peaceful uses too. Engineers use similar scanners to inspect buildings, find defects in walls, or locate pipes and wiring without drilling. Some companies are exploring using the same sensors for autonomous robots, machines that can map hidden spaces in 3D. And just like that, another boundary between the physical and the invisible is fading away. Now, let's talk about the invention that might change how we build everything: robotic fabricators that can print entire structures. In Switzerland, engineers at ETH Zurich developed something called the in situ fabricator. It's a mobile construction robot that can build architectural elements directly on site. Instead of prefabricating parts in a factory, this robot moves around, lays bricks, or extrudes material in place, guided by digital blueprints. During one project, the team programmed it to build a curving brick wall on campus. The robot moved methodically, picking up bricks, applying mortar, and placing each one with millimeter precision. The final wall wasn't just functional, it was art, curves, angles, organic shapes that would have taken humans days to calculate and measure by hand. Elsewhere, companies have built giant 3D printers that can print concrete houses. The printer moves on rails or robotic arms, extruding concrete layer by layer. One prototype built a small home in under 24 hours. It wasn't perfect, but it was fast, cheap, and strong. In a world facing housing shortages, this kind of automation could change everything. Instead of months of labor, machines could build emergency shelters, bridges, or even Mars habitats in days. But it's not simple. Construction regulations are strict, and robots need precise calibration to avoid errors. Materials behave unpredictably. Weather, power, and terrain all pose problems. And robots still struggle with things like plumbing, wiring, and interior finishing. Yet, each successful prototype brings the dream closer: buildings built by robots, customized on the fly, optimized by AI, and maybe even self-healing someday. Now, step back for a moment. Think about what all these inventions have in common. They're not finished. They're not ready for mass production. But they exist. Real, working prototypes of technologies that once lived only in stories. And that's what makes this era so incredible. We're living in the space between imagination and reality. A few decades ago, the first computers filled entire rooms and had less power than your phone. The first electric cars were clunky and slow. The first airplane flew for only 12 seconds. Every revolution starts with a fragile prototype. Brain-computer interfaces are teaching us how to talk to machines with thoughts. Invisibility cloaks are showing us how to bend light itself. Self-healing materials are merging biology and engineering. Wall scanners are letting us see what was once hidden. Robotic builders are redefining construction. Each one of these technologies began as an impossible idea, the kind of thing you'd laugh at if someone pitched it at a coffee shop. And yet, scientists kept building, testing, failing, rebuilding. Because that's what invention is: persistence made visible. There's something poetic about watching the first imperfect version of a world-changing idea. It's like seeing fire made for the first time. Rough, unstable, but full of potential. And if we've learned anything from history, it's this: once a prototype exists, progress never stops. The mind readers will get smaller, safer, and more accurate. The cloaks will cover wider spectrums. Materials will heal faster. Scanners will see clearer. Robots will build higher. One day, you'll think a command, and your car will respond. You'll walk into a house that repairs itself overnight. You'll watch a rescue drone find survivors beneath rubble through concrete. You'll see a new kind of architecture emerge, one designed and built by autonomous machines. And when those things happen, people will say, "Wow, look how far we've come." But the truth is, it all started now, in this messy, experimental, brilliant age of prototypes. So next time you hear about a crazy invention that seems too good to be true, remember, the future doesn't arrive all at once. It sneaks in quietly, one prototype at a time, in labs and garages and test fields around the world. The future isn't coming. It's already here. You just have to know where to look.